go. Watch the baseline. Fade away. Yeah. He's way too good. He steps around Lou and drilled it. And the Sixers have scored 9 in a row. 7 straight points by Iverson. Looked like he was down the ball. The Sixers by 4.
And welcome once again to the Sports Skillet Radio Show. We broadcast live every Sunday, and we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us. However you are finding us, whether it be on our social media channels or whether it be on the Heat Ratio social media channels, thanks so much for the Heat Ratio for hosting us as well. Check out the Heat Ratio. They do a live broadcast every Tuesday night now. So you want to check that out. Lots of fine shows on the Heat Ratio social media channels. So definitely check out the Heat Ratio. Thank you so much for them for hosting us as well. A reminder, you can check us out at sportsskilletradio.com for the sports news. Great articles by Mike Nebbia. Lots of things going on at sportsskilletradio.com, so you want to head over there as well. Heat Ratio and Sports Skillet, great marriage going on there. So check out all our social media channels. And again, once again, thank you for checking us out as well. And reminder, drop us comments during the show. We can see them. We will respond to them. Comments, predictions. We got the NFL playoffs that have begun. So if you have predictions for the NFL playoffs, please, and we will respond to them. Great show lined up for you. We are talking NFL playoffs. We got some other things as well. I am Jay, and I'm joined this week by Mike Nebbia, my brother Jeff, and as always, the coach Shane McGowan. We are thrilled to have him on as well. Shane, can you let everybody know how they can find you on your social media channel?
Yeah, you can reach me at mentaledgeperformance.ca or else mental_edge_performance. Gentlemen, let's get the elephant out of the room here with my damn Raiders losing last night.
Absolutely, Shane. I mean, I got to give your Raiders credit because a lot of people didn't think they would make the playoffs with everything that they had going against them this year. They had to replace the coach. They had players getting suspended and thrown off the team. I mean, utter chaos for the Raiders this year, and yet the interim coach, Rich Bisaccia, managed to steady the boat along with his quarterback. They make the playoffs, and unfortunately, they are one and done. Talk about your Raiders, Shane.
No, you nailed it all from the get-go. I mean, it has been a season they'll look back and make a damn movie out of this one because, like I said, the things that they went through and everything like that. And also, I mean, from last weekend's game to get into the playoffs, to go into another overtime. Like last weekend's overtime throughout the whole NFL was crazy. I mean, everybody was doing it and stuff. And actually to even have Pittsburgh shaking in their boots to think that they might be out, you know what I mean, was quite an experience too, you know what I mean? Because you could have had the Chargers in there as well. So, like I said, phenomenal season for them in that way. But like I said, you know, what really I found the most disturbing part was, again, the officiating when we got to it. And I'm hoping it's not going to be a trend as we keep moving forward. The only nice part about this, it was the fact that those officials will not be participating anymore throughout the playoffs. They have been suspended because of their play, you know what I mean, and everything like that. So let's call what happened was, again, on the one play, Burrows is scrambling. He's running. He throws the ball. The whistle is blown. The whistle is blown. Everybody stops. Guess what? It's a free toss. Boy catches the football in the end zone, and they rule it a touchdown. Well, why was the whistle blown? Why? What happened? Instead of doing the right thing and just replaying the down, okay, and saying, listen, let's just replay it. Officials made a mistake. They go to New York. New York can't hear anything because that's just how it is. Those officials on the field who couldn't figure out anything in themselves, right, are still scratching their heads on this, just said, no, it's a touchdown. Wow. You know what I mean? Now what do we do? Well, we give them the touchdown in the end, I look at it and saying, I lost by a touchdown. The Raiders lost by a touchdown. You know what I mean? So if we didn't have that one bloody touchdown, at least we could have gone into another overtime, which would have been even more exciting. And I love my overtime because Raiders always win in overtime, it seems like. So I mean,
you and your overtimes coach.
Hey, as long as we win, because I'll say this, I got the best kicker that there is in the NFL. All right. Sure. That guy's been, and you know, the other thing too is I'll say this, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the announcers for the game were so pro Joe Burrow because of Drew Brees, Mr. LSU, and everything like this, and all the Cincy fans. And I understand.
Isn't Brees an LSU alum though?
Exactly. But you know what? As a commentator, you got to be a little unbiased of things. I mean, I think they're all going to Joe Burrow's steakhouse after this thing. I mean, it was just crazy. You know what I mean? And I'm just laughing because Crosby, who's clutch, okay, the guy hasn't missed for like 2 bloody years or something like this. They couldn't even give him the proper credit when it came to making the field goals that needed to keep them still in this game, you know. And I thought that's kind of in some ways showing exactly how much favoritism there is at certain things, you know what I mean, and stuff. So I wasn't impressed with a lot of that stuff when it came to the commentating, and definitely not with the officials. And I'm hoping that in this way, this game set an example as we move forward with the rest of the playoffs and stuff, and these refs be accountable, because the last thing you want, and you know, Jeff, you got your team playing today. You are hoping, especially going into a rowdy Cowboy stadium, that it does not get to that officials making these type of calls too that are going to be contradicting of what's happening out there and stuff like this, and possibly blow something. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm glad that they did what they did. I'm glad these officials are being reprimanded by the higher ups now and stuff like this as we move forward.
The NFL probably will get to that point.
Yeah, Jeff, any comments about the Raider game yesterday?
Other than the fact that the officiating stinks around the NFL. I mean, we've known that in the regular season. The
officiating hasn't been up to snuff since the 90s.
It's unfortunate that, you know, these games are coming down to these type of calls, but wouldn't you really expect it? Really, I mean, it's really just a tough blight, really, on the NFL to have these officiating and have these calls, and even they can't even get it right when they go to New York anymore. So it's really it's really tough on these teams. And you know, look, I mean, the Raiders did have an opportunity even beyond that to make a run and to get points even after that call was made. They didn't get it done. We know since Cincinnati coming into this game was going to be the favorite coming into this, and they were going to, likely advance in the playoffs. I mean, that's just the way it goes in the NFL. And, and like I said, the Raiders played as hard. I mean, look, that Sunday night game was off the charts. I mean, you know, never mind last night's game. That Sunday night game was just, just outright, just, unbelievable. I mean, Chris Collinsworth was just beside himself. I mean, he couldn't come up with anything to describe what was really going on and how many lives the Raiders had and how many saves that the Raiders made in that game to advance them into the playoffs. And let's call it what it is. I mean, the San Diego coach should be fired. I mean, I'd say the LA coach, I mean, the Chargers coach should be fired for calling that timeout. You would have had your team in the playoffs. They were gonna sit there. They were gonna sit there. They were gonna run out the clock. And you know what? They called the timeout. They were grouped, and it was like, okay, let's have one more play. They got a positive run play, and there you go. Kick a field goal, walk out of there, and eliminate the LA Chargers. So, I look at that and I say, how is that coach still coaching in the NFL, knowing the fact that he cost his team, a shot in the playoffs? That's the unfortunate part. The fact that maybe he didn't understand, what was going on. I don't know, but he should have understood the fact that hey, if they run out the clock, hey, we're in the playoffs, we're in business, guys. We got a shot here, and they calling that timeout. cost his team. So Raiders got in. Congratulations to them. They had about 9 lives in that game, and that was just one terrific game, kind of back and forth. But and there were plays in that game where you looked at the officiating and you were like, "Geez, what the heck is going on here?" So I just shake my head right now. The officiating right now in the NFL just outright stinks. I mean, there's no other way to say it.
Yeah, Shane, I wanted to talk to you about that. That timeout that was taken with less than a minute remaining was kind of curious to me because it looked like the Raiders
were taking that timeout.
Yeah, I would have taken it early if I was thinking about getting the ball back or trying to mount a comeback or something like that. I would have taken it well before then. It seemed curious as far as when the Chargers took that timeout. You're
absolutely correct. The way the game is played in that way was the fact if you're going for that win, you would have taken a timeout a lot sooner. All right.
Yeah.
Vegas waited and watched to see if that's what they were going to do. They didn't. So it's like, okay, no problem. We're going to do you a solid 2 and just run the ball, and that's it. And that's it. We both make it to the playoffs. Pittsburgh's sleeping, and they're not going to wake up and be happy.
Right.
But what he decided to do was say, you know what? I'm going to get greedy. And right at that last minute, when they thought that the Raiders were just going to play Mr. Passive and not get that extra first down that they needed to continue on, right, with that run, they took the timeout. Yeah. And all of a sudden, Vegas is saying, okay, fine. You want to play that way? No problem. Yeah. And that's when they just put their heads down and ran it. And good for them in that way. Those players for the Chargers look at each other and say, we did our job. Coach, you screwed up. You screwed up. You screwed us in this one. And that's the end of it. And really, you can't blame Herbert. You can't blame anybody. That was a back and forth game. I give the Charger players more credit for how they played and grunted it out there. And actually them sitting on the sidelines going, Jesus, thank you, Raiders, for allowing us to also get to a playoff by just running the ball and being conservative like that. And then all of a sudden your coach takes a timeout. I'm surprised one of them didn't hit him in the back of the head with a helmet. You know what I mean? Because like I said,
the Chargers coach are probably better than half the teams that are in the AFC playoffs. That's the thing. That's the funny thing about this is the fact that, here's a team that's sitting out of the playoffs, and they're probably better than half the teams that are in the AFC right now that are playing. So, I mean, come on. What? The Chargers aren't better than the stinking Patriots who played last night? I mean, we're going to get to that game eventually, but come on. Yeah. I mean, really. That's the unfortunate part here is that this coach should be fired. I will say that 100 times that, when you have a team right now that can compete for, I don't know, an AFC championship, and you're out there and you got a gift a Christmas gift that's being given to you by the opposing team that's saying, okay, look, we'll take the tie. We'll take it. Yep. We'll both get in and we'll both try and make our run in the playoffs. And screw Pittsburgh in the process. What the heck? I mean, hey, Pittsburgh. What did Pittsburgh deserve in all this? So, just go out there and let's go out there and make the playoffs.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It was a gift. It was a gift, and the fact that both teams fought even in overtime. And this is what you were getting down to and saying whoever had the ball last. You know what I mean? You're running it, blah blah blah. No problem. You know what I mean? But to be that cheap of a coach and sneaky like that, to me, that is not a good look. And you know what? Yeah. This goes on his resume where everybody looks at him and stuff like that. And the rest of the players look at it and go, you know what? Yeah, you can think about next year and all that, and we'll be ready, blah, blah. No, you look at this year and thinking, damn, we could have been in our Super Bowl in our own home. You don't know, right? You really don't know when you get to the playoffs.
Yep. And to put a bow on the Raiders, Shane, what do you think about the future for Rich Bisaccia? You think he should be given the opportunity to coach the team again next year? He was given the interim tag, but do you think he should come back next year, or do you think they should join that NFL coaching carousel and go out and interview some other head coaching candidates?
Well, I mean, by league rules, they have to put it out there anyways. All right, so. By league rules, you have to put it out as coaching availability, blah, blah, blah. It's then going to come down to exactly what what direction they want to go and everything like this. And you know what? You got to ask that head coach too and saying, do you want this? I mean, he may not want this. He may realize that maybe his style might be just being that specialty, assistant head coach and things like this too. Maybe he's not ready to get himself in that deep. And I know he's been around for centuries, no question about that. And I give him a lot of credit. The players love him too and everything like this. But he also has seen the carousel of coaches go around and around. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he may look at something differently too. But I know that the Raiders are going to have to put it out there. It's up to them on what they want to do if say someone comes available that they're interested in. And I don't know if that's the case right now, because like I said, they do have a chemistry amongst his last tail end you saw happening. The Raiders did play well. They did a lot of things considering everything that happened. So I don't know if they really want to. I think they just want to go through the formalities, but I think they're going to offer it to them. I think they really will.
Yeah, I think so too. What do you think, Mike? Do you think the Raiders will offer Bisaccia the full-time gig?
No. I think he joins that coaching carousel.
And what about you, Jeff? Would you bring back Bisaccia for another season? You think he earned it?
I would. I bring him back. I mean, he definitely rallied the team. He definitely has, I think this is supported the players. I mean, he made the playoffs. A heck of an attempt to go out there and beat, a Cincinnati team that, is coming off, just beating, the Kansas City Chiefs. So I definitely think that there's, that he should be given an opportunity to lead the team. No question about it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think in light of everything that transpired around the Raiders this season, I would definitely think highly about bringing back Bisaccia for the 2022 season. I think he definitely earned it. He stabilized the team with all the drama and everything that went around the Raiders this season. He definitely stabilized the team. I would definitely lean towards bringing him back. The other game that went down on Saturday was the Buffalo Bills putting the beat down and opening up a can of whoop ass all over the New England Patriots. Holy cow, did they do that? Buffalo played about as perfect a game as you could play in eliminating the New England Patriots. Shane, what did you make of this one?
Well, it was redemption. I mean, it's Buffalo coming out there saying, you know what? Not today, Bill. Not today. You know what I mean? And that's all it came down. What is it? The first 7 drives or something they scored? I mean, like
every drive.
You either got a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, another passing touchdown, another rushing touchdown. Jesus. And the crazy part too was how Josh Allen just took that game himself. He just took and ran, and he ran hard, and he ran over people. You know what I mean? Yep. I'm just going, okay, first off, I appreciate that you're running and everything like that, but I still need you for the next games too, so don't get hurt out here. You know what I mean? But he had no fear at all. He took this game, and I think he took it with a chip on his shoulder, because that monkey on your back, you need to get it off. You need to lead your team, and that's what he did. And again, too, is for quarterbacks in that way, that's their way of getting the rest of that team to say, listen, follow my lead, because I'm going to take you here. We are going to win this. And that defense played solid. I mean, Jesus, I felt sorry for that quarterback there for Patriots, man. He was getting rodeo tied up. I mean, it was not pretty. It was not pretty at all. And when you can't move the ball, especially with the offensive mind of a Josh McDaniel and everybody like this, it's pretty devastating in that way too.
Yeah, what did you think of this one, Mike?
It was an absolute bludgeoning. And you can't move the ball if you're the New England Patriots. There must be something wrong with you. Against a team like the Buffalo Bills, of all teams, you go into their home stadium and you get bludgeoned like that. I think you're in for a serious rebuild. Yeah,
what did you think, Jeff?
I think it's Buffalo. They're a very good team. I think they're finding they're finding what they had, last season, and they going through the playoffs. Josh Allen is definitely a very confident quarterback at this point. with what he has, and that defense, like Shane said, is just playing tremendously well. I mean, they were just all over New England, not giving them a chance. And look, I mean, New England got a field goal at the end of the first half. Not that it mattered, because it was just at that point it was crazy time. I mean, it was just one touchdown after another. I mean, that's just, and you don't see that. And the thing is, you don't see that against a Belichick defense. You really don't. But Buffalo. I mean, this can happen obviously when you're playing a division opponent for the third time. There was no wind obviously in this game to affect Buffalo as far as trying to pass the football and try to execute their game plan. So I thought they did a tremendous job, and kudos to them, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of games to see if this is not just the fact that they were playing a New England team that's kind of young and kind of inexperienced at the quarterback position. But it's a learning experience, I'll tell you that. I mean, that New England quarterback, is going to learn. I mean, he'll learn, and he'll get better from this, and it'll be something that he'll be able to take. Believe it or not, you take things more away from a loss than you do from winning. So I think at this point, he'll look back and he'll say, okay, this is what I learned in this game, and there's nothing wrong with getting some playoff experience. So at this point, you take it, you kind of put it in your back pocket, and you move on to next year if you're New England.
And just to go off of that too, you're right. There's nothing wrong with the loss. You're learning from it and everything like that. But I also look at the Bills side and saying they didn't take their foot off the gas either at halftime. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's another big thing for Buffalo, because a lot of times teams like that in Buffalo, has in the past let up. They've let up, and all of a sudden somebody's gone back into the game. So they're learning themselves and saying, we got to keep this mentality as we keep moving forward.
Jeff, do you think this does anything towards Bill Belichick's legacy? Do you think?
No, this does absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, he's he's still right there. I mean, he has what? This is just step one, right, on the plan. Making the playoffs this year was an accomplishment, I think, for New England. Nobody expected New England to really be where they were. And heck, this season they competed for the top seed, at one point. So, look, I mean, I think, that this is, like I said, this is part of the growing process, if you will, of a team. And New England will be right back at it next year. We'll see what happens. To me, it's going to be a fascinating race now coming out next year, with New England getting a little better, and certainly with the Bills and so forth. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Mike, do you think they can improve with Mac Jones as their quarterback next year?
I think they can. They just need a few more weapons around Mac Jones to help him improve. They surprised everyone this year, got an AFC wildcard, but they just had the unfortunate luck of going up against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Now, Shane, do you think this will be the Bills division going forward, or do you think New England can rebound next year?
I think the Bills will keep this for a little bit, but I do think that they're going to be getting nippets of the New England Patriots biting at their ankles, and saying, hey, we're still here. Don't forget about us. You know what I mean? And that's just Belichick's way. Look at what the team he's got. He's got no-name people, all right? He's got no-name guys that are out there and making it to a playoff. There's no Stephon Diggs. There's no Cole Beasley's. There's no Tyler Knox. Look, you got a Hunter Henry. Yeah. That's it. You know what I mean? For like I said, you know what I mean? Like it makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference in some ways. Yeah. And I think that you're right when it comes to if they can get a couple of extra guys out there that can play offensively and defensively in some way to help this team develop and grow, they're going to still be in the race. You know what I mean? In that division. And that's it. And I don't think Buffalo can look back and just say, yeah, we own this now. I don't think they can do that at all. I think they have to still stay just as sharp, because look at every year the NFL changes. Every year teams get better and better and know your players and know what they need to do to beat you. So like I said, that's Belichick's job, and he's going to find the people to do that.
Yep, I completely agree. I think, this is step one for Bill Belichick. He's figuring out the team without Tom Brady there. Last year was kind of a COVID year. This year was kind of step one in kind of rebuilding without Tom Brady. So I think they'll be more competitive next year. But turning the page towards Sunday's games, we've got some interesting games on the ledger. Let's start out with this one. The Philadelphia Eagles going down to Tampa Bay to take on the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers starting at 1 p.m. We learned that there's going to be no Leonard Fournette in this one. Jeff, what do you think about this game? Eagles at Buccaneers.
Well, I think it comes down to whether or not the Eagle defense can rattle Tom Brady. I mean, if the Eagle defense can get after Tom Brady, and if the Eagles can be successful running the football, look, you don't have a lot of margin for error when you're playing against Tom Brady. So, look, Jalen Hurts isn't the most accurate passer in the world. We know that. So, what Tampa Bay is going to try and do is force the Eagles to pass the football, make Jalen Hurts, that one-dimensional, stop the run of the Eagles, and force Jalen Hurts to make the passes that, he needs to make. If he can make those passes, if he can get it done, congratulations to him. It's going to be an interesting thing because, the whole key really is to defeating Tom Brady is really, as we've seen this year, is really getting in there. I mean, you got to take a lot of cues from the Saints and how they executed their game plan against them twice. And what did they do? Well, they got after him. I mean, that's what they did. So that's got to be the mentality of the Eagle defense, and they've got to that's got to be those got to be the two keys really to the Eagles' success here. I think is for the defense getting in and getting into Tom Brady, sack him a couple times, rattling him, make him uncomfortable in the pocket, and then on the other side of the coin, they've got to be able to pass the football effectively without getting any turnovers.
Yep. What do you think about this game, Mike?
You gotta get to Tom Brady early and often if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. If you can't pressure Tom Brady, he's gonna walk all over you with the weapons that he has. As you mentioned, no Leonard Fournette. He still has Gronk. He still has guys like Godwin and Evans. He's going to walk all over the Eagles if they can't get to him.
Yeah. What do you think about the key to this game, Shane?
Well, there's two factors in this one. If you're looking at the Eagles, your job is to, you're right, put that pressure on Tom and everything like this. But again, too, is on the offensive side. Jalen Hurts, I think, is going to have to probably be a lot more mobile in some ways. You know what I mean? He's got to be smart about it. The accuracy is not there. So that means you might be playing a little bit more to your tight end of Goddard. And I think you got to establish that run. You got to get Miles Sanders involved fast, and you got to get him moving and keep that defense off, and keep them on their toes a little bit in that way. Tom Brady and that team is going to play control football. They are going to keep that time moving. They're going to slow down the game. They're going to do everything they can because you only have Mike Evans and Gronk. All right. You're relying on Tyler Johnson, Perriman, and Keegan there to run that ball for you and things. So there's going to be a little bit of, uncertainty at certain times. And I think this is where Tom is going to try to play that more patient game and move the chains, which is going to disrupt the defense of Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Just when they think they got you, all of a sudden, first down, we're moving the chains again. I expect probably a few more extra field goals. You know what I mean? It is a strong wind down in Tampa right now, too. You know what I mean? So there is a bit of a wind issue right now, they're saying, and things like that, too. So that could play a factor depending on which side you're going and everything. It does swirl down there if you've ever been there. So, I mean, it does swirl quite a bit. That's not going to play well for Jalen. And that's another thing. That's why I'm saying that run game needs to be established fast, and they need to get that going. So, hey, you got all your running backs healthy, for Pete's sakes. You could put Howard in, you could put Brian Scott, you could put Miles Sanders. You can do a lot of things out there to keep it fresh, and I think that's what they need to do, to just keep pounding that ball in that way. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? And then the little short dumps to Goddard and guys like this too, Quaz. But I mean, Tampa though is Brady is very, very intelligent when it comes to this, and he is going to make sure that he keeps the game in control.
Yeah, I tend to agree with pretty much what everybody says in this one. I do think that the Eagles are a run-first team. They're the best run offense in the NFL statistically this year. It'll be important for the Eagles to establish the run, for the Eagles to stick with it. The Buccaneers are getting some defensive players back, which are going to be key in this one, I think. But, even if you're getting 2-3 yards, stick with the running game. Don't try. It'll be important for the Eagles head coach and offensive coordinator to stick with the running game. Don't abandon it. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Don't try to outsmart yourself and say, they're expecting us to run the ball, so we're going to come out throwing it. No, just you're a run-first team. Your offense is built on the run. Like Shane said, the Eagles have their full complement of running backs healthy and available to them. They said there were no restrictions on Miles Sanders as far as his broken hand is concerned. That was key. That kept him out the past couple of games. He had a broken hand, but according to all reports from the Eagles, his hand is not going to be a factor. So we'll see how that goes. I know the Buccaneers are going to try and test it out, see how his ball security is. But keep running the ball, even if you're, like I say, even if you're getting 2-3 yards a clip, keep sticking with it, because that's where the Eagles' bread and butter is the running game. And like you guys said as well, putting pressure on Brady, getting him slightly off his mark, even if you don't sack him, because Brady does get rid of the ball quickly. But even if you just tap him on the shoulder pad or knee pad or sneaker, cleat or whatever, just saying that, hey, we're getting to you. We're going to eventually get to you. Just kind of get him nervous, get him kind of moving around in the pocket just a little bit, affecting the throws, just making him off his mark just a little bit. I think that will be key in the game. And I know the Eagles don't get a lot of sacks statistically. They're one of the worst teams in terms of getting sacks in the NFL, but just getting pressure on him will be key, and getting him off his mark. Because a lot of his offensive personnel, we know the Antonio Brown, he's gone. A bunch of other players are injured. So, stopping Gronk is going to be an issue for him. Gronk is still a very good tight end in terms of catching the ball, but, just affecting the play calling in that way and trying getting Brady to go to a different receiver, that'll be key. Want to let everybody know, feel free to drop your comments in and we will respond to them. Feel free to comment on the NFL games that have transpired, what your team is thinking about, what you want your team to do. We will get to them. Next game up, Jeff, is your 49ers going to AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas to take on those Dallas Cowboys. 4:30 this afternoon. Jeff, what do you think about your Niners? Can they defeat the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, of course they can defeat the Dallas Cowboys. The question is, what happens with Jimmy G? I mean, how many turnovers does this guy throw? We know Dallas. We talk about the opportunistic defenses. I mean, you talk about the most opportunistic defense in the Dallas Cowboys, and you're talking about a quarterback in Garoppolo that will turn over the football. If you look at last week's game, I mean, he rips the hair out of 49er fans because he'll turn over the ball twice in the red zone. Then all of a sudden, come up with that drive with a minute left in the game and tie up the game. I mean, he's a mental case, in terms of a quarterback, because 1 minute he looks like At times, he looks like the worst quarterback in football. And then at other times, he looks like the best quarterback in the league. So what quarterback is Jimmy G? What is this quarterback? And, that's really the question that 49er fans, have been wrestling with. And that's the problem you have in this game. It's not the 49ers going up against the Dallas Cowboys. It's Jimmy Garoppolo playing Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, it's the fact of how is he going to screw himself up? I mean, how is this guy going to put himself in a hole and then try and dig himself out of it? I mean, that's really what it comes down to because he put himself in that hole against the he made the situation what it was against the Rams in that game. That was all of his making. I mean, turning over that football the way he did. So he's got to be sure with the football in this game. He can't have those kind of mistakes. You're dealing with the number one offense in the NFL. You can't give the Dallas Cowboys short fields and think you're going to get away with it. These aren't the Rams; these are the Dallas Cowboys. So they're going to have to execute effectively in the red zone. They're going to have to come away with touchdowns because Dallas going to put points on the board. You know that. So can the 49er defense turn over the Cowboys? Here's the other question you have. If you're a Cowboy fan, what are the Dallas Cowboys right now? I mean, we saw what they did against the Eagles, but again, they were playing all the Eagles' third stringers. I mean, what are you talking about now in this game? And before that, I mean, they lost to Arizona. That is not playing well at all right now. I mean, really. I mean, you look at Arizona and they're just, they're a mess. So you wonder right now where the Dallas Cowboys are at this point. So I think this is a fascinating game on many levels to see what happens here because both these teams kind of have warts, and it's going to be interesting to see which warts show up for each of these teams. To get a victory. I think that's going to be the case. Is what team makes the fewest kind of mistakes in this game? I think will determine this game.
Yep. What do you think about this one, Mike?
It's going to come down to who turns the ball over the least. Yeah. And as you said, Jimmy Garoppolo is prone to turnovers. The question is, can the 49ers defense force Dak Prescott into making more turnovers?
Yep. And Shane, you agree turnover is key in this one?
Oh, there's no question about that. The other thing too is I'll say this is that the 49ers, Jimmy G, if he didn't get the help that he did by especially, and I'll go on a limb and saying Jennings last week was probably the main guy that helped him in so many ways to get that ball moving. Great game by Jennings and Ayuk, but Jennings I think was a key guy in this one. Because of everything that was going down that kept them still moving. So these guys bailed out Jimmy G. All right, let's get that straight. With Debo does what Debo always does, and you can rely on him, and you're going to need him big time today. There's no question about that. But it's those other two that were needed. If the run game gets stalled a little bit, you go to Jennings, you go to Ayuk, and then you can mix and match a little bit. Those guys kept them in. But I'll say this about the defense, though. 49ers defense, they only rushed the 4 guys. The rest of those linebackers fall back. That's going to cause a little chaos, I think, for Dak in some ways, too. So if those 4 guys can put that pressure on, you now are going to have to play a little dump pass. So I think Zeke is going to be a lot more involved in this game, and how you spy on Zeke to keep him in check is going to be huge. So the 49ers, who are fast on defense, they are a quick team, young in that way, are going to have to make sure that they don't allow Zeke to get outside on them and things like this, because I think that's where they're going to go. You can win this. There's no question about that. I totally believe that the 49ers can take this game. It's only favored by 3, and that's just because you're playing in Dallas. All right. We all know that. It's a field goal. And if it comes down to a field goal, you ain't taking the Cowboys guy. All right. That kicker cannot kick anything.
Exactly.
All right. We know that. So, I mean, this is almost what you're hoping for is like, hey, no problem. We'll get to a field goal. Let us do our thing. No problem. You know what I mean? But I think if Shanahan's a smart guy. I think he learned a lot in that Rams game and saying, listen, we went to overtime. We came back to win in overtime. We made our sloppy mistakes. Our guys played up to a higher level. Let's just keep it the way it is. But our defense has to play tough. And I think you're going to rely on your defense this weekend too.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to go with the 49ers in this one. I think the 49ers have an advantage in coaching. I'm not a huge Mike McCarthy fan. I think he can do something during the course of the game that'll have people kind of scratching their heads, like, why are you taking a time out here, or why are you doing this, or why are you doing that? I think there's going to be at some point during the game, people are going to be scratching their heads over a decision that Mike McCarthy makes that's going to cost the Cowboys the game.
Hey, we always know this. There's always an upset in these games, right? There's always going to be somebody that's going to come in and scoop on you by a late field goal, overtime, whatever it might be, all right, and flip that script. This might be that game. This might be that game where you're playing in the hostile Cowboy territory, and these West Coast boys come in there and just swoosh, and then they get on that plane and get the hell out of Dodge. You know what I mean? Right? And Jerry Jones is still going to be scratching his head after.
Well, just remember, this is a 49er team that, did go out and play very competitively and really should have beat the Tennessee Titans. I mean, the Tennessee Titans went down and obviously got that late field goal, obviously, to beat them. But, that was just an ultra-competitive game. So the 49ers have been playing, at that high level. What concerns me as a 49er fan is obviously Jimmy Garoppolo being at the wheel. I mean, that guy just, he has split personalities. I mean, he can make the best of – he can make those – he can zip the ball and make the greatest of passes, and then he can leave you scratching your head with some of these passes that he makes right into the heart of the defense instead of throwing the ball away, just throwing it out of bounds. I mean, you're in the red zone. There's nothing wrong with throwing the ball away and taking the next down and going from there. And I think Jimmy G has to really start to, understand that sometimes you live to play the next down. You don't have to go out there and throw it into double coverage and try to, force the ball into a situation where you risk a high percentage of a turnover. And turnovers in playoff games are devastating. So he's got to be very careful.
Especially if you're throwing it to Diggs. You got to make sure you keep away from that Diggs out there on
exactly. That guy's going to be looking to zone in on Jimmy G. He will be. So
he will be, absolutely. And the late game on Sunday night, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers going into Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Jeff,
nice seeing you, Ben. Nice seeing you, Ben. Have a nice time. Have a nice. We'll see you in the Hall of Fame. Okay. This is not. I mean, NBC got the the run of the litter here in terms of all the games. I think
they got the short end of the stick.
Whatever you want to say. I mean, obviously, I don't think this is going to be Buffalo by any means. I don't think it's going to be that bad. But at the same token, I don't see Pittsburgh being able to compete in Kansas City against those Chiefs. I think this is a win all the way for Kansas City.
Yeah.
At least NBC got Mahomes.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're smiling. You're going to see a whole lot of soliloquy on Pat Mahomes in this game. Yes.
And he's going to be a big ratings draw for NBC, no question.
Yep. What do you think about this one, Shane?
I think it sucks. You know what I mean? I honestly would have, I really, in this case, I would have loved to have seen the Cowboys and the 49ers in that last game. You know what I mean? And stuff to end off our night and our thing in that way. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? Especially after last weekend's Sunday game. I mean, I don't see this going into a big overtime and excitement and things like this. It will be interesting to see how Pittsburgh responds with Juju coming back. I mean, that's now been official. So Juju is out there. Will he make anything happen? I don't know. Ben is going to have a hard time. There's no question about that. The only thing I'm going to say about this is that, yes, Kansas City is favored by 2 touchdowns plus whatever it is. But they got to make sure that they keep their head in the game and saying, we got to drive it down their throats. You know what I mean? You can't take it for granted in that way just because of who you're playing. Pittsburgh is that dog team that just keeps fighting in some ways as well. And it's not pretty lately of how they're winning. There's no question. It is not pretty at all. But for whatever reason, they get some fluky things happening. They get some official calls going their way and something like this and so on and so on. You don't want to get into that, how can I say, it's going to throw you off your rhythm and things like this. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you keep it smart. Mahomes got to be smart too out there. Tyreek is still banged up, so I expect Kelsey, Pringle, and Hardman to do a lot of the leg work with Williams running the ball. Give Tyreek a little bit of a distraction and stuff, so he's not going to be too banged up. Because, like I said, you got to keep moving forward. You got another team next week, and you just got to keep playing like this. But I do think that Pittsburgh is going to have a hard time. I think they're going to just rely on Najee doing his thing and throw the ball real quick out to Fairmouth and guys like this. But I don't expect any long balls or nothing like that, especially playing in Arrowhead where the weather's not comfortable. Even though, they're used to it in Pittsburgh and stuff, it's still wind whirls out there and things too. So possibly more of a kicking game on Pittsburgh side, in that way. But I expect Kansas City to come do their job. But they got to just make sure that they keep their head in the game and drive it down their throats. And if they look at what Buffalo did, I think that's the mentality they should have, and say, let's just keep it going like that. Let's end it off in our place with a big, big win.
Yeah, I agree. You agree, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. And then so we wrap up the wild card weekend, super wild card weekend, as the NFL is talking about, with the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Arizona Cardinals in Inglewood, California at SoFi Stadium. Jeff, you're the big guru on the NFC West. Who do you like in this one?
Don't put me in it. Really, these two clowns.
Yeah.
Really, you got Arizona right now that has its own issues right now, that is not playing well. And then you got on the other side of the ball, you got a quarterback right now that is simply for LA that is simply not not comfortable right now in the pocket, not going throwing the ball. If you can collapse that pocket around him, so I want to say that Stafford's going to come up with something in this game. That he's going to come up and make a play or two. But to really pick this game. I just happen to believe that either one of these teams that wins. You just kind of wonder. I'll take Arizona for the heck of it, because I just don't think right now that the Rams are playing well at all. They don't have that continuity right now, and their defense is just getting run over at times. They don't look. That defense does not look comfortable at all right now for LA. So right now, just because look, I think you're taking the lesser. Both these teams right now are coming in here wounded. So I just look at it and I say, okay. What team do I think has, the better shot? I'll take Arizona. What the heck?
Yep. Who do you like in this one, Mike?
I'm taking the LA Rams in this one.
Gotcha. And Shane, what do you think about this game on Monday night?
Yeah, Jeff kind of nailed it. Both these teams are banged up. They're all over the place, offensively, defensively, everything like that. But I think I will favor the Rams in one category only, and that's it. I think Kyle Murray is still too ginger on that ankle to take off the way he needs to keep this game moving. And I'm not saying it's going to be by a blow up by any way at all. I think this game is just going to go back and forth. I think the Rams are going to try to establish Akers back in that run game and get him moving the ball as that workhorse too. But it's hard to, when you got the best receiver in Cooper Kupp out there, to not watch him do some things and make some things happen. And then Odell's been picking up his game too. So I just think they're gonna pick on them in that way. And I just don't see Arizona's DBs being able to cover Kupp as well as they should. So I think that's going to be the key for them. I don't trust Stafford as much, that's for sure. I think when he gets hit once, he gets very panicky and he just doesn't see what's happening. So if Arizona can get to him real fast, it might make a difference. But in this game, I'm going to take the Rams on this one.
The problem that I have with the Rams, coach, is the fact that you look at the way they got out that big lead against the 49ers. I mean, they had that, they had that lead, and then the 49ers just started getting to Stafford, and they just started overwhelming him and making him, very sacking him. I mean, and once that started to happen, I mean, the whole game plan sort of caved in on the Rams, and so it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be an interesting kind of contest because on the other side, like you said, you got Kyler Murray on that ankle. So, like I said, either one of these teams is possible coming out of here with a win, but I don't see either one of these teams advancing very far into these playoffs. I really don't.
The one thing I'm going to say about last week's game against the 49ers is that, and I was talking to a friend of mine who actually used to play down there in with the Rams and stuff, and he said the same thing, is that the coaching decision in that last 2 minutes of the game made a big difference on some stuff by them just trying to run that ball instead of still playing a little bit of a pass, a little 3-yard dump, 5-yard dump, move the ball in a certain direction and stuff. McVay has a problem with that. He thinks he was high-fiving everything, thinking we got this. You're right. We're still at that 2 minutes. And I think, again, this is where McVay keeps shooting himself as a coach of these little dump plays of run the ball, bam, stuff, run the ball, bam, stuff. And then also I'm going, oh, geez, we got to punt the ball now, right? This is the philosophy that's always been McVay, almost from last year to year before on certain rundowns when they had Gurley, they had everybody like that. You think you can just power yourself. You don't have a Derrick Henry that can carry 5 guys. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying is if McVay changes that a little bit, the 49ers could have still kept that ball moving, the clock ticking, things like this too. You know what I mean? So I blame a little bit on McVay's play calling at certain key times, and he's been bad for that. He really has been very, very bad for that. So that's another key thing. I think that, overall, I mean, I still think the Rams have a team, but you're right. I mean, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tough. And after this game, you're right. How far either one of those teams are really going to progress after of who they face next?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you guys. I'm going to go with the Rams in this one, just because they sunk everything into winning, getting to the Super Bowl this year. I don't know, like you guys said, I don't know that they're actually going to get there, but they've dumped everything into winning this season. And I just think that they're going to come out and they just have a little bit more than the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm definitely going to go with the Rams in this one.
They mortgaged SoFi Stadium to get to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like I said, they did everything they could. Every draft pick they got everything. They got nothing for next year.
Exactly. So if they don't get there, they're going to be in a world of hurt. Yep. Being able to trying to retool and everything like that. The other thing that happened since we last were on air here, we had what?
The Djokovic situation.
That I'm going to get to real quick. But Mike, we had Black Monday go down, and a bunch of coaches ended up getting removed, and
one of which was Joe Judge.
Mike, what do you think about Joe Judge and GM and head coach are gone from the Giants? So they are starting out from scratch.
I can't say I blame them. Joe Judge did grow on me. He reminded me a bit of Tom Coughlin, but he didn't have the skills needed to be the next Coughlin. He was special teams coordinator, for Pete's sake, and the special teams for the Giants tanked under Joe Judge. Yeah. I think it was time for a change, and they did the right thing, getting rid of Gelman, getting rid of Judge, getting rid of everyone. It's time for them to start from scratch, and hopefully we don't get Wilpont again.
Hopefully not. Looks like the Giants are just going to put a strong GM in place and then let the GM choose the new head coach. But
that coach is Brian Flores.
That would be good. I wouldn't mind seeing Brian Flores on the Giants.
He's going to the Texans.
Yeah.
Could be.
You now want to see Bill O'Brien as head coach?
No,
Doug Peterson.
That would be
fun. Peterson would be fine, but Bill O'Brien can just move back down to Penn State.
But the Texans fired head coach David Culley. Coach, did you see that as a little bit of a surprise, or do you think that was a mere formality that Culley was gone after this year?
Well, two things in this whole coaching situation was Flores being dumped from the Dolphins, which should never have happened. Okay, that's one thing. That was just I can't figure that one out. And then the Culley being from Texas. To me, that's just saying, listen, we just need a fill in at this particular time, and you're gone. To me, that's just a slap in the face. I mean, again, the organization is being pretty screwed up in some ways. And I know there was a little bit of talk this week. Flores is basically saying, hey, whatever team I'm going to, I want to know exactly where your heads are at as an upper management team. I want to know what this GM is thinking. I want to know what they want to do. I want to know the direction we're going to go. Because I'm not going to be going through this crap, because he thought he had that in Miami, and that just flipped the script on him. You know what I mean? All because of what he felt of getting a Deshaun Watson and things like this, and all this other stuff happening, and trades here and there, and what can we do? How can we improve? The organization and the team did not agree with that. But instead of coming to a bit of a better understanding, they just got rid of him. You know what I mean? So now he's going to wherever, and he's going to be a hot commodity. He's the hottest commodity right now, I think, because he's got the experience of a head coach. He led a team to a relatively good season, you know what I mean, considering what he did work with and have with injuries and everything else moving forward. And now he's going to kind of pick a certain thing and saying, this is what I need to be successful and what I want. If you can't give it to me, I know another team will.
Yeah. What did you think about these openings, Jeff?
Well, like I said, I agree with Coach in the fact that Flores just got, I mean, that was a shocker. I mean, but Miami's, been a mess for a little while here, and you just wonder where Miami is headed at this point. I mean, where the Dolphins are going. Certainly, they're not going very far in that division. And making this move,
not as long as Buffalo's there.
Making this move just scratches your head even further. But it moves Flores really to the top of the list as far as head coaches go with a lot of these teams. Now saying, oh my gosh, this guy's out there. We got potential to get a real gem of a coach. So I think there's going to be a number of teams that are going to clamor to interview him and hopefully get him into the mix of some of these teams. Like I said, I think Doug Peterson could be headed to the Giants. I think that's the hot rumor that Peterson will go to New York, and would that be a thing for him to coach against the Philadelphia Eagles twice a year?
That'd be the ultimate revenge.
Especially since I think he would enjoy that, because the Eagles did him dirty in firing him. So I mean that did not end well, and I definitely think that he would like to get some revenge there, but. Again, he would have some work to do. I mean, there's a lot of mess that he has to clean up in New York if he goes there. So this is not going to be an easy fix for Doug Peterson.
This is going to be a 3 to 5 year fix.
So it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. It's a fix where the Giants do not have a lot of cap space. Gettleman spent a lot of money signing especially defensive players, but signing players to big money contracts last offseason. So you're looking at the Giants without a lot of cap space. I believe, I don't know if you agree with me, Mike, but I believe that they have a question at the quarterback position. I don't believe, I don't believe that that's a settled position. So, and you look at the draft, the Giants do have a bunch of picks in the first round this year, but it's not a good quarterback draft, so they could build up the team in other areas. But, you're not winning without a competent quarterback, at the helm.
Jones doesn't seem to be the answer right now.
No. So, again,
maybe he's a backup once we get a good, solid starter in place. But this is something that not even I could do in Madden, and that would be rebuild the Giants.
Yeah. It's something where you have to put a good
And I don't even have the latest edition of Madden.
You should get it, Mike.
No problem. I don't have a next-gen console.
There you go.
I'm stuck on PlayStation 3, so that means I'm stuck on Madden NFL 25th Anniversary Edition.
Gotcha. So, but
And I'm trying to rebuild the Giants in that game.
Yeah. Good luck with that. I mean, good luck with but this is a situation where, the Giants have to put a good GM and head coaching combination together, one that has a lot of synergy, and there just has to be a lot of patience with the Giants and their fans that this is going to take a little while because
76ers all over again.
Maybe it may, if you have a good GM and head coaching combination, sometimes you can kind of excel things, but you have to get that quarterback, and that quarterback does not appear to be on the market this year or in the draft this year. So it may take another season or two before you get that quarterback in there. So there's going to be a lot of patience that people are going to have. Coach, I'll go to you with this one. What, if any of these openings, which one appeals to you to be the best opening, if any of them appeal to you to be a good opening?
It's kind of a toss-up in some ways. I like the Vikings openings.
Yeah.
Right. I think that team figuring out about what I do at the quarterback situation. But I have established receivers, established running game, defense. I can make some adjustments there too. But I think that is probably one of the more solid teams. It's a strong division, but I think it's one of the more solid teams that you could do some good things with. Chicago is it's kind of an interesting one there too, because I'm still trying to figure out what I have when it comes to my quarterback. Do I trust Fields enough? Do I have to make some more adjustments? I don't have anybody backing them because I don't trust Dalton or Foles in that way either, right? But I mean, if going to the Giants or other teams like this that I don't have any salary cap either, is a very hard situation. You know what I mean? Because you gotta entice the offseason of players to come there. There is going to be a quarterback carousel happening too. We got to understand that there's going to be a quarterback carousel happening. That's why I'm saying the Vikings. If I went to the Vikings and all of a sudden I realize Aaron Rodgers decides to jump ship, that leaves a little bit of an opening in that division where I might be able to do something. So, Flores being as good as he is, if he took that Vikings job, I could see him doing really well in many ways up there. So Texans, I give them credit of how they struggled to get through and do what they could and everything. No, they don't have a ton of talent in many ways, but they did win. They won some ugly games, but they won. But
they got to figure out that quarterback. They got to figure out what they're doing.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Is all these teams,
Deshaun Watson.
All these teams are coming down to the same thing of quarterback. Giants don't have a quarterback to save their life right now. I mean, you got to start off from scratch. The Texans don't have a quarterback. I still question the Vikings quarterback too. Could I get something in there? You know what I mean? Because I have a hard time with Cousins at certain times too, right? So there's a lot of things when it comes to where I'm going. But what is the whole team looking like? And I think the Vikings are probably the team that's best solid at this particular time.
Yeah, you agree, Jeff?
I agree. I think Minnesota is probably the pick, right now. I mean, there's not a lot of desirable jobs out there for, as Coach pointed out, for, one of many reasons, cap space, so forth, or just the overall environment of some of these organizations. I mean, do you want to, Miami would be, an interesting place, but the environment down there in Miami leaves you wanting because you don't know, whether you're going to stay or come. I mean, you really don't have any. You really don't have any security in Miami. They can do that to Flores. If they can do what they did to Flores, what's say that they can't do that to me? So, it's kind of like, okay, do I really want to go down to that organization and do that? So I think a lot of these teams have a lot to figure out going forward. So it's not like, there's a lot of ready-made teams that are like, right there, ready to go into the playoffs and make a big run. I think there's a lot of work to do for a lot of these teams that have these jobs open. So when these coaches come in this year, they're going to have work to do for a year or two or so forth that they're going to have to that they're going to have to work on. This isn't going to be a one-off season and done. And okay, we're back to being, a playoff team or so forth. There's more going on here than what a lot of these coaches may want or expect to get as far as these organizations go.
Yeah, what do you think about these openings, Mike? Overall,
they're not the most enticing. I can tell you that one right now. The most enticing out of all of these might either be the Vikings or probably Miami, but I don't like the culture down there in Miami.
Yeah.
So I might have to X that off.
Yeah.
Texans, they got to figure out what to do.
I'd still take my Raiders job. I'd take a Raiders job.
Yeah,
well, yeah, if the Raiders job opens, I would keep the coach. So
I would too. But here's a quick one that I'm going to throw out there. What about the Vikings? But what about Jim Harbaugh?
Ooh.
Harbaugh?
That would be interesting for him to go from Michigan to
Minnesota.
That would be an interesting career move for Harbaugh.
That's just across Lake Michigan.
Yeah, just because exactly.
Exactly. Right. Not a big move, not uprooting too much or things like that. And it's right in your backyard in so many ways, and
right in the Big Ten.
He's established himself. He's looking at a team that's pretty much still intact in many ways. It's not like he's got to rebuild a whole heck of a lot. Right. And if Flores does go to the Texans or something like this, and
Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, heck, he has a shot in that division. So
exactly. So that's something that was brought up earlier this week, and I thought that's kind of interesting, especially because he's not looking for more money, as it's been stated, from Michigan. He's looking to say, can I get myself a ring to compete against my brother, and which team can get me there too? That happens to be enticing and opening, so I don't know.
And that looks to be either Minnesota or the Raiders. But I think he would probably just jump over Lake Michigan to get to Minnesota.
Yeah, and one of the things I think, Jeff, I think you'll agree with me, is that if Harbaugh is going to make a move back to the NFL, he's going to want control. That was one of the things that.
I mean, we saw what happened with Trent Baalke. We saw what happened with him with Trent Baalke. I mean, so we know that if he goes back, he's going to want some level. But a lot of these coaches are going to want some level of surety of what's going on. So I think that's true of a lot of these guys that are roaming out there, that are swinging around the pool right now in the coaching carousel. Is they're all going to want some measure. But Harbaugh, I think Harbaugh, if he does jump from college to the pros, going to want some level of control. So we're going to have to see what happens.
Yep, and we want to thank Andre T. Johnson for dropping in. He says the Eagles are going to win today. I hope so.
31-22?
Dude, that's optimistic, Coach.
No.
That's a true fan.
I think Tampa wins it
right there. Yeah,
that's a true fan.
I think Tampa wins it only to get beaten up by the LA Rams.
But I mean, just to put a bow on that for an openings. I mean, you look at some of the openings, like the Denver Broncos. A lot of people say that they've got the team, they've got a lot of talent there. But the one thing about the Denver Broncos is they are up for sale. They're going to be sold, and if I'm laying out $1 billion, which is probably what it's going to sell for. If I'm laying out if I'm laying out billions of dollars to buy the Denver Broncos, it may not be 2022, it may be 2023 or 2024. But if I'm spending that kind of money, I'm going to want my guys to come in there, right? If I'm the owner, I'm gonna lay low maybe for a year, a season or two. But really soon, I'm going to want to bring my crew in there. And that would kind of, to me, lean towards a little instability there. Like, I got the team maybe minus the quarterback. But, even if I get the quarterback, if I don't put up wins, and you're looking at that division with the Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs and the overall conference in there now with the Bills and and the Titans and everything, if I don't put up playoff wins, if I don't get to a playoffs and put up some playoff wins, yeah, as good as I am, I might be out of a job just because the new ownership wants to bring in their people. So that might not be the most desirable of jobs. I mean, it's just crazy.
So those new owners might be a guy like Peyton Manning and John Elway.
Could be. You never know. They might be under the surface putting bids in there. You never know. Some of these guys.
There's big rumors that Peyton is willing to put up quite a bit. So, I mean, you're looking at like probably about 3-4 owners in some ways, but that's still going to be.
I wonder how that's working out for the Miami Marlins in Major League Baseball. Yeah, not so good.
Yep. I mean, so
baseball's not working out.
No, I mean and here's the thing I was going to get to. Baseball had some preliminary meetings this past week just to put out, an offer to the owners put out an offer to the Players Association, Players Union, but they're mulling that over. They're going to respond back, but Jeff, it's getting closer, and Jeff and Mike, it's getting closer and closer.
You know what? Just let me know. Just let me know when they come to an agreement. Don't talk about baseball until they come to an agreement. It's no birthday, so move on.
This is NHL 04-05 all over again. I've been saying this since
too much time
the
on
lockout
baseball
started.
Yeah.
Cut.
All right. So, Jeff, let's go to tennis.
Yes. Novak. And I call him Novak Djokovic. If you get my point, Novak. If you get it, Novak Djokovic, obviously. Well, he's not going to play in the Australian Open. They threw him out of the country. Good for them. No preference.
He's not going to be playing in the Australian Open until at least 2025.
Congratulations. So, congratulations to the government for doing the right thing here and not allowing him to play in the Australian Open. And, because again, look, I mean, even the other players came out, and they said, hey, look, get vaccinated. I mean, that's really the thing. I mean, you got you got that choice that you can make, and Novak Djokovic did not decide that he wanted to do it. So, I'm sorry, but those are the rules as far as Australia goes. So, good. So goodbye. It's unfortunate that it got, this much media attention and so forth, because it shouldn't have gotten to this point to begin with. But, the right move was made by the government, and the fact that, because this would have been a circus had they elected to let him play. It just would have been an absolute circus at every one of his matches. So.
And now he's going to be hoping for an upset of both Federer and Nadal.
Yeah.
What did you think about this story, Shane?
I think it was a headache, is what I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at the government. Without a question of a doubt, the government had no choice but to do what they did. You're not going to bring somebody in, even with an exemption or whatever. There's a lot of different things that he wrote on his forms that didn't make sense, etc., and stuff like that. And here you are as a country trying to say, listen, you're giving the wrong impression of what we need to get done here and what our goal is of doing. Whether you believe in it or you don't believe in it or whatever, that is your personal choice. I totally understand that. But you have to understand you're going into another country, right? And it's their rules. Yeah. It is their laws. It is the profession of the sport, too, of what they want, of mandating certain things. You have to follow that. And if you don't, then these are the consequences. I mean, that's all it is. So like I said, the fact that they let it go for so long and go through the court system and everything like that to finally just say, okay, you're done, you're out, your visa is revoked. I mean, off to Dubai. That's it. And it's simple. So how he plays this out now, where he goes from this is anybody's story. But like I said, I mean, it was something that probably should have been nipped way before it even got started, in that way, especially, again, it's the polarizing of a figure that's very big in a sport, that you happen to be playing. And this is what transpired. And the government should have jumped in a lot sooner instead of making this such a big parade in this way. And Djokovic, he knows what he's doing. He plays a game. He's playing a bit of a political game too in some ways and stuff like that. And his partners. But we'll see what happens now as he moves forward.
Yeah, I hope this situation causes Novak Djokovic to have a change of heart about the vaccine as we get closer to the French Open Memorial Day weekend?
I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
You don't think it
I
will?
think for him to do for him of what he did already in Australia, he's going to find another loophole. He's going to do everything he can when it comes to loopholes to get himself exempted as he moves forward. And that's just going to be up to each country of wherever he plays at.
Yep, I tend to agree with you, Shane. I think I don't see him changing his views on the vaccination. And everybody has their opinions on whether or not to get vaccinated, but I don't think this is going to change his opinion on it. I don't think he's going to suddenly decide to get vaccinated. I just think he'll go on to the next round, and and he's entering another country, and when you enter that country, you are subject
to that country's rules.
Exactly.
Game papers, please.
Exactly. And and that's the thing. If you're going to come into that country and that country says you have to be vaccinated to come into the country and you're not vaccinated, well, then you can't go into that country. That's that's the bottom line. And I'm glad that the country, Australia stuck to its guns and said, no, we don't care.
No, they said no. They said Novak.
Exactly. And
they stuck to
it. We don't care how popular you are. We don't care,
if you're one major away from breaking the record.
Exactly.
You're out. See you in 2025.
Exactly. And
but
I'm
please,
glad
Novak, get your pricks. It's not that hard. Just get your pricks, get your 2 pricks, and you can play again.
Yep.
You got 4 months now. French Open is Memorial Day. French Open starts Memorial Day weekend. Get your pricks.
Yep. And I'll just go around the horn real quick, get our predictions for today and tomorrow. Mike, I'll start with you. Tampa Bay at the Eagles at Tampa Bay.
As much as I would like to see the Eagles win because I cannot stand Tom Brady, I gotta go Tampa.
Gotcha.
And for this late game, I'm going LA.
Gotcha. You're going with the Rams. And who do you got for the Steelers and the Chiefs?
Chiefs.
And
Big man seeing the Hall of Fame in 5 years.
And who do you got for the 49ers and the Cowboys?
I'm going 49ers. You're done, Dak.
There you go. And Jeff, I'll get your predictions for today and tomorrow.
I'll go with Tampa in the first game, 1 o'clock. In the second game, boy, this is a tough game. Even being a 49er fan, I'm going to take the 49ers just because like Shane said earlier, there has to be an upset during this week. I mean, that's usually the way it happens. I'll take Kansas City in the night game, and tomorrow night I'll take Arizona.
And Shane, who do you got?
Yeah, no, I'm going to take Tampa in the first one. I am going to take the 49ers. I think they're going to pull the upset on this one. And I just think it's going to be a close game. Either way, I think 49ers will get this one. And then tonight I'm going to take the Chiefs. And then I'm going to take the Rams. The Rams by another close one. I think they're going to just win by a field goal if they do win this one. I honestly can't feel confident in 2 of those games. I really can't. You know what I mean? I think it can be a coin toss in some ways between the 49ers and the Cowboys, and I also think it's a coin toss between the Rams and Arizona. I think they're just that close because of different things that they do right and different things they do wrong. So it's going to be a tough one.
Gotcha. And as for myself, I think this one could be the upset game of the week. I think the Eagles could upset Tampa Bay.
Homer J is back, Coach. Homer J.
No, I'm not being a homer. I'm just saying the running game could keep Brady on the sideline, and that could affect Tampa Bay. And the weather conditions aren't the greatest for throwing the ball around. And Tampa Bay hasn't been good on run defense the past couple of weeks. So that's something to keep an eye on.
But you got to run the ball, though.
Eagles are the best running team in the NFL. So
but then he gets off kilter. He doesn't run the ball. He decides to go throw the ball as a play call. So like I said, look, I get what you say, Jay. You just better hope your coach is smart enough to say, hey, let's run the ball. Okay?
I hope so.
Okay.
I'm crossing my fingers that he does. And then I am going to go with the 49ers over the Cowboys. And, of course,
always got to run the ball.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Chiefs over the Steelers. And Monday night, I am going to go with the Rams over the Cardinals. So as we start wrapping things up, I'll throw it out, guys. Anything that you would like to bring up that maybe we didn't get into?
Just the fact that I'd like to congratulate the Georgia Bulldogs on their great win in the national championship, being Saban. I mean,
great win by the Georgia Bulldogs.
You talk about what what Buffalo did. I mean, Georgia just ran over Alabama that fourth quarter. I mean, they just took that quarterback right out of his game. And look, I mean, that turnover kind of spurred, I think, the Georgia quarterback in his head to try to say, I'm not going to let this happen. He said it after the game. I'm not going to lose this game. I'm not going to let that be the cause of why we lost this game. So, he said that afterward. And, look, I give that quarterback a ton of credit for what he did. I mean, this was a walk-on, walk-on guy who just came onto the team and for his alma mater and came out there and won a national championship for his team. So, congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs. And, Saban has his many titles, so I don't feel sorry for him. So Georgia they haven't won a title in many years. So congratulations to all the fans and all the students and everybody with the associated with the university. Congratulations.
Yep. Anything with NASCAR, Mike?
Not yet, but we got the Rolex 24 in 2 weeks from actually yesterday. The Rolex 24 is set to begin January 29th into January 30th. Daytona International Speedway on their combined road course.
Gotcha. This in from Adam Schefter. He tweeted out that Eagles defensive end Josh Sweat, probably one of, if not their best pass rusher, from the defensive end position, underwent an emergency procedure Tuesday due to the severity of the matter. Sirianni said that Sweat improved every day, but it was determined by the doctors this morning that he was not quite ready to get back on the field. The fact that Josh came so close to playing is a credit to his toughness and the Eagles' medical staff. And Sirianni has said during the week that Sweat was dealing with an abdominal issue. So it will be a huge loss for the Philadelphia Eagles, no doubt. But
you want to change your pick, Jay?
No, I'm still staying with the Eagles. But
of course, Jay is staying with the Eagles. You are the biggest homer since Jim Jackson.
No, I'm just looking. If they can keep Brady off the field and limit his possessions by running the ball, it could bode well for the Eagles' chances in this one. And there's usually an upset during the wild card weekend, and this could be that upset.
My homer sirens are going off right now.
Maybe. All right, guys. If there's nothing else, we want to thank everybody for tuning in this week and joining us. Shane, before you sign off, once again, can you let everybody know how they can find you on your social media?
Yeah, you can reach me at mentaledgeperformance.ca as well as at mental_edge_performance. Jay, best of luck with your Eagles.
Yeah.
Jeff, best of luck with them 49ers. And Mike, good luck finding a coach.
Exactly. Yep. All right. We want to thank everybody. Remember, sportsskilletradio.com for all the sports news, show updates, great articles by Mike. Also, the Heat Ratio. They do a live show every Tuesday evening. So you want to check that out as well as all the other content at the Heat Ratio. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you back here again next week.
Two, with the bases loaded and one out. Oh, God, deep to right field, way up there and way out. Second deck walk-off home run. Grand slam, Fray's homer. It's been a decided game. Fourth and goal. Here's Iverson, through the defender, stays right where Allen wants to go, wants the baseline,